Hello, good morning and welcome to the United Stand. This is your latest Manchester United transfer news where we give you that real fan opinion on all the latest Manchester United transfer news. And we're going to start off with what Jose Mourinho said at the weekend before I start talking about the players below. He mentioned that he wants two, he expects one signing in 10 days. Tomorrow we'll be into single figures left of this transfer window, which is ridiculous. And it's sort of coming to pass, isn't it, that I said that we don't really do business when we're on tour, which is ridiculous. I don't know why, but we never seem to do that much business when we're on tour. So Jose Mourinho at the weekend saying he expects one more signing. I've got a theory on who that's going to be in a moment, but he did say that a few months ago he gave the club 5 targets that he wanted, and obviously they have not been delivered. Who are those 5 targets? Do you include Grant in there? Do you include Dalot in there? No, I don't think you do. I think that his 5 targets were Fred. Obviously we got Fred in. Sandro, definitely, I think he was a target as well. Willian, Alderweireld and Milinkovic-Savic. I think they were the 5. I know people want to chuck Gareth Bale in there. I don't think Gareth Bale was one of Jose Mourinho's 5 targets. I don't think Jose Mourinho seriously thinks we can get Gareth Bale. I think the 5 people that he gave as a list to the club a few months ago were Fred, Sandro, Willian, Alderweireld and Milinkovic-Savic, of which we've got Fred. And I think that's what Jose Mourinho is trying to say. He's got one of the 5. He hopes to get another one, but he wanted 5. And he's quite right about that. I mean, you can be Jose in and Jose out, as I've said, but you can't really put the blame on him for transfers. It'd be nice to know who the 5 were officially, so we can say, well, what are you looking at them are? But the reality is he wanted 5 players. He's got one of those, and Dalot's a player for the future, and Grant's just basically a third-choice goalkeeper. I mean, we're not paying him much money. He's a third-choice goalkeeper, so Pereira can get loaned out. So that's an irrelevant signing, really. And Dalot's for next season, really. I think they just did it because there was competition for him. So Sandro is the one that we didn't get and we should have got the most. Willian, I think we still might get. A centre-back we might still get. And obviously Milinkovic-Savic, I don't think we needed him because Pereira's come through. And more importantly, Fellaini stayed. The thing about this is that who is the one signing that Jose Mourinho thinks he's going to get now? For me, it's going to be a centre-back. I think Willian could happen and that could be the second signing. And I still think we might do 2 signings. And I think Jose might be being a little bit negative. But I think the one signing he's talking about will be a centre-back. I think it will be Alderweireld or Harry Maguire. They'll both go to the end. Definitely both go to the end of the transfer window because Spurs, Daniel Levy, that's going to go right to the end, and Harry Maguire's still on holiday at the moment. That's going to go to the end as well. So I think that the one signing he's talking about is a centre-back. Whether that solves the problems we've got as a team, I do not know. I don't necessarily think it does, but that's the 5 I think it is. I'd be interested for you to get comments below and tell us what you think your 5 is. Yerry Mina's being mentioned a lot. Now, you might have seen him in the Colombian national team in the World Cup. He scored a couple of goals, did quite well, 6'4". He's about to turn 24, I think, in September. Powerful player, but desperation signing. I'm not saying we're not going to do it, and I'm not going to say it couldn't work out if we did do it, but it's a big risk desperation signing. Factual, it is. He would not have been on Mourinho's list a few months ago. He would not have been on Manchester United's radar 2 months ago. This is totally because of the World Cup. Because when you know anything about Mina, he went to Barcelona in January. He's played 5 games for Barcelona, 15 games for Colombia. He was previously at Palmeiras for 2 years. He's got no pedigree. He's had a half-decent World Cup, and suddenly he's like the Manchester United solution centre-back. We should not be signing Mina. There is no step up in Lindelof and Bailly by signing Mina. I mean, he's a massive risk. It's a desperation signing, and I'd be very surprised if we're in for him. Talk of 35 to 40 million pounds. I don't see that one happening in a million years, and it certainly shouldn't do. It's an Everton signing, and I'm not being disrespectful for Everton, but Everton can afford to take those risks. If it works out and it makes them better, that's great for them. If it doesn't work out, it's not going to cost them a title or a top 4 place because they're not battling for that anyway. From Manchester United's point of view, it's like signing Rebic just off a World Cup. It's not a good signing, and it stinks of desperation. And the last thing United need to do in the last 2 weeks of this transfer window, or last week and a half, is make desperation signings, because that will just compound how bad we've been in this transfer window on top of what we've done. So yeah, definitely need to avoid that. Alexandro I did want to mention. I mean, that's the signing that I think is going to come back and bite on us, just exactly like Perisic did last year. We needed that left back. We still need that left back. Ashley Young's 33, isn't he? Luke Shaw, I think, is still going to pick up injuries. So who have we got? You need a consistent left-footed left-back, and we haven't got that. And Jose's been let down by the sounds of it there, because he would have been a target, and for some reason we won't pay the money. As I said yesterday, Manchester United and the club, Wood and Mourinho and Woodward, they need to sort this out, because you can't have a player that's really, really important to us and not go and get them. Rojo looks like he may well be going to Wolves, which will bring a little bit of money in. It could bring as much as £25 million in, which would be well worth it. I mean, we're getting close to breaking even this summer on what we've spent, which shows that the transfer budget, what was it? Did we even bloody have one? Darmian, the Napoli president, has said that they're interested in Darmian, which is good. Darmian should be going at some point soon. You just wonder whether Jose Mourinho is trying to keep him, even though Darmian's desperately publicly saying he wants to go, whether Mourinho now wants to keep him because he's touching, he's close to 30. He's exactly the sort of player Mourinho wants, and he's got lots of injuries at the moment, so maybe he's trying to get him to stay. But Darmian needs to go. Some of these things are biting Jose on the backside now anyway, aren't they? The Marcial situation, the way he's treated him, and now Marcial's giving him a bit back. The Darmian situation, hardly played him last season. Now he's got a few injuries, he might need him, and Darmian's like, I want to go. You can understand these players, because you can't do one thing to them and then suddenly when you need them, be like, oh no, you can't treat me like that. So Darmian should go soon. That'll be another £15 million coming in. There's been talk of Phil Jones leaving Manchester United. Look, happy days if it happens. I think Phil Jones is a decent centre-back. I think he'd be good at somewhere like Leicester or Southampton. That's probably his level. His obviously injury prone, but he's got mistakes in him. That's the most important thing that I think rule him out being a top centre-back. But I don't think for 1 minute Jose Mourinho is going to sell Phil Jones. I think Phil Jones is in that select group of 4 or 5 players that Jose Mourinho absolutely loves. So I'd be stunned if Phil Jones go. I think there's more chance of Smalling going, and I think Smalling's more useful to United, so I hope he doesn't. But the Marcial situation, obviously a lot of people will be asking about that. I think that I said this back in March, April time, that I think Marcial will go. A lot of you were saying that's not going to happen. Anybody who's watched this show for any length of time will know that Anthony Marcial is my favourite player with Rashford. They stand for what United's all about. Their flair, they're young, their development. They can be top-class players. So I don't want Marcial to go, but I felt back in April that Marcial's career got ruined by Mourinho when he signed Sanchez. And if Marcial wants to develop, he's not going to develop under Mourinho. He's not going to get much game time under Mourinho. It's clear that Mourinho doesn't rate Marcial as well. As sad as it is, Manchester United should not be selling that type of a player. It seemed obvious that he was going to leave. And I think that over the summer has become even more obvious. The comments from Marcial's agent, Mourinho digging him out again at the weekend because he's gone home because of the birth of his child. It's beyond repair. But I think what's happened is Mourinho can't bully or have a go at Marcial anymore, because Marcial's just bit back and said, I want to leave. And the club are in this really difficult situation where they don't want to sell Marcial because he's 22. They spent a lot of money on him and he could go and be top class elsewhere. But they've got a manager that wants rid of him, and it's put the club in a very difficult situation. I mean, I've heard people say to sack Mourinho, get a new manager in, they'll get the best out of Marcial, everyone will be happy. But that's not what's going to happen. That isn't going to happen. Mourinho will be our manager next season and Marcial will leave. But how the club deal with this, I don't know. I mean, ideally, Mourinho and Marcial sort their issues out, but I don't think Marcial's going to have a lot of love for Mourinho after what he said at the weekend. So that's going to go. Whether it'll happen in the next week and a half or not, I don't think it will. Marcial doesn't need to leave Manchester United before the English Premier League transfer window closes a week on Thursday, unless he's going to an English Premier League club. He can go to Bayern Munich, he can go to Italy, he can go to Spain before the end of August. And I think that that's probably what's going to happen. I don't necessarily think Marcial's played his last game for United. I think he might be involved against Leicester because we haven't got many options. But I certainly think it's going to be the end. I think in relation to the next week and a half, or the wider transfer window in general, I think Darmian, Rojo and Marcial will go. And hopefully we will get 2 signings in, of which I think it will be Alderweireld or Maguire and Willian, and I think that's what's going to happen. But all in all, it won't be a good transfer window, and Jose Mourinho's admitted that. So we as fans don't need to feel guilty for saying it's been a bad transfer window, because it's abundantly clear from Mourinho that he wanted 5 players and he's been delivered 1 so far. As I say, Dalot and Grant don't come into that. Anyway, get your comments in below. Give us your thoughts. What's your thoughts on the Marcial situation? Rojo going. Who do you think the one signing is going to be? Do you think it is a centre-back, or do you think I'm way off and it could be Willian and that'll be it? And also, who do you think the 5 were? I'd be really interested. Get your comments in below. Who do you think the 5 targets were that Jose Mourinho wanted at the start of the summer? Obviously, we know Fred was one. Who were the other 4? Get your comments in below. Thanks everyone for watching. Drop a like on the video, please, and get involved with the channel. We're live again at 8 o'clock tonight. It's got another Skype show. If you didn't see the Skype show last night, make sure you keep the eye in the top right-hand corner some fantastic calls from minute one. Really passionate opinion there. We'll have another of that tonight. And obviously, if anything happens during the day, we'll go live as well. So thanks everyone for watching. I'll speak to you all later.